So as you all know, Italy, as I have already told you, was not divided. It was divided. That is why we need what unification, है ना? Since it was divided, that is why we need unification. So remember, Italy basically it was divided in 7 parts. How many parts it was divided? 7 parts it was divided, Italy. And out of 7 part now, only 1 part was under the control of original Italian king, whose name was Victor Emmanuel II. Okay, and he was the king of Sardinia Piedmont. Fine. So once again I'm repeating. First point was Italy was divided in 7 parts. Out of those 7 parts, only 1 part was controlled by the Italian king, whose name was Victor Emmanuel II, and he was controlling Sardinia Piedmont part. And here the king, the Italy, it was divided. Suppose you can divide it in North Italy, Central Italy, and South Italy. So North Italy, I have already told you here that North Italy was controlled by Austria. So in Austria, we have the Habsburg Empire. Austrian Habsburg Empire it is called. Then the central one is controlled by Pope. So Pope are the religious Christian in Christianity. In Christian religion, the head of the Christian religion is called as Pope. On that time, the religious leaders were given great support by the monarchic system, and they were also given large properties also, to enjoy. So this Pope was controlling the central part, and the south part was controlled by Spain. So in Spain we have the Bourbon dynasty. Bourbon dynasty was not only in France, it was also outside of the France also, like Spain also we have the Bourbon dynasty. Fine. So here 3 parts were there, and north, central, and south. Fine. I hope till here picture is very much clear to all of you. Now to unite this all 3 particular parts together in Italy was huge and humongous task, and this was taken by so many great leaders. Like one, though you can already understand, that is Giuseppe Mazzini. So Giuseppe Mazzini I have told you here, okay, that is revolutionaries. Okay, so Giuseppe Mazzini, I was telling to you that his dream was to unite Italy one day, and he tried multiple times by forming secret societies like Young Italy and Young Europe, but unfortunately he was failed. Although he was failed, but his intention was very good. That is why he is known as the soul of Italy. Understood? So who is known as soul of Italy? Giuseppe Mazzini. Okay. After Giuseppe Mazzini, the next very important personality is Victor Emmanuel II. So Victor Emmanuel II is the king of Sardinia Piedmont, and he has initiated to unify all the places of Italy together. And to support Victor Emmanuel II, their one chief minister of there, his chief minister of Victor Emmanuel II. And he was chief minister of Sardinia Piedmont also. Okay, since Sardinia Piedmont was controlled by king only, that is Victor Emmanuel II, so you can understand. So here chief minister, the name was the Count Camillo di Cavour. Okay, what they said, Count Camillo di Cavour, who was the chief minister from Sardinia Piedmont. So this Count Camillo di Cavour was very clever person. He was diplomatic master, and he was having great friendship with the French army and with the French government. So with the help of French army, the Cavour has attacked on the North Italy. The Cavour has attacked on the North Italy in 1859, and he successfully included this North Italy into the main Italy, and he defeated Austrian Habsburg Empire. Who defeated? Count Camillo di Cavour. Who was Count Camillo di Cavour? The chief minister of Sardinia Piedmont. Remember, what is Sardinia Piedmont? Sardinia Piedmont is one part of Italy. Who was the king? Victor Emmanuel II was the king from Sardinia Piedmont. I hope till here picture is clear. Now one more great leader was there from Italy, whose name was Giuseppe Garibaldi. So Giuseppe Garibaldi was a very strong personality, and he was a warrior, and that is why he was known as the sword of Italy. Remember, Giuseppe Mazzini was known as soul of Italy, and Giuseppe Garibaldi was known as sword of Italy, and he was also having his own army, which was called as Red Shirts. So with the help of his army, and with the help of the common people also, he attacked on the South Italy in 1861 you can see here, and he successfully defeated Spanish Bourbon empire, and he included this South Italy into the main Italy. Fine. So in that way, the North Italy, South Italy both united in main Italy, And when this Austrian Habsburg Empire, Spanish Bourbon dynasty has been defeated, so Pope got threatened, है ना? So he himself, surrendered, and the Central Italy, automatically came in main Italy. So in that way, the unification of, Italy took place. And after the unification, the King Victor Emmanuel II, who was the king of Sardinia Piedmont, now he will become the king of the entire Italy. And the chief minister of Sardinia Piedmont, who was Count Camillo di Cavour, Count Camillo di Cavour is also known as Mind of Italy. Why? Because he is very, master in diplomatic skill, and he was very clever. That is why he was known as Mind of Italy. So Victor Emmanuel II will become the prime minister. Victor Emmanuel II will become the king of the entire, Italy, and Count Camillo di Cavour will become the prime minister of the entire Italy. है ना? So I hope this is clear to everyone, that is unification of Italy. Now, very quickly we will discuss about the unification of Germany. Fine. Before starting unification of Germany, one thing I just want to tell you, that Giuseppe Garibaldi, as I told you, he was also known as Sword of Italy, as well as he will be known as Bismarck of Italy. So who is Bismarck? I'll tell you here. है ना? So here now two personalities we'll see. The first one is King Kaiser William I, and the second one is Otto I Bismarck. Otto I Bismarck. Okay, so first one is Kaiser William I, and the second one is Otto I Bismarck. So these two very important personalities we'll discuss in this unification of unification of Germany. है ना? So as I told you, Germany previously it was known as Prussia only. So here now the unification of Germany process started from the Prussia. Actually on that time Germany was divided into n number of places, and other n number of other particular countries were controlling the Germany. So Prussia has initiated the process of unification of Germany, and the Prussian king was Kaiser William I, and the Prussian chief minister was Otto I Bismarck. So Otto I Bismarck was very, very, very strong personality, and he was known as one man army, and he was great warrior. Okay, and Otto I Bismarck, with the help of his army and with the help of the support from the common people, he he did 3 battles over the period of 7 years. है ना? 3 battles over the period of 7 years. So these 7 years are starting from 1864 to 71, and finally the unification will take place in 1871. So he did 3 battles, as I told you. So these 3 battles he fought with 3 countries. So first one is with first one is with Austria. Okay, second one with Denmark, and third one is with France. Fine. Austria, Denmark, and France. 3 fought. He did. With Austria, he fought in 1864. 1864 he fought with Austria. 1864 with Denmark. 1866, and with France 1871. Okay. So if you will calculate, it will be 7 years from 1864 to 1871. How many wars? 3 wars. And fortunately, all the 3 wars has been won by Otto I Bismarck. And after winning all the 3 wars, the Germany has been united. Okay, and this is the entire process of the unification of Germany. So once again, I'm repeating: unification of Germany started by the Prussia, and the Prussian king was Kaiser William I, and the chief minister was Otto I Bismarck. Otto I Bismarck was excellent character. He was warrior, and he was also known as one man army. He was, with the help of his army and support of people, he did 3 wars over the period of 7 years. First one was with Austria, second one with Denmark, third one with France. With Austria 1864, with Denmark 1866, and with France 1871. And fortunately, all 3 particular war he has won. And after winning this all 3 war, finally Germany was united in 1871. So I hope till here picture is very much clear to all of you. Now we will start this unification of Britain. So always remember, this unification of Britain is also known as unification of strange case of Britain. Why it is known as the strange case of Britain? 2 points are there, है ना. First point is this particular unification of Britain is started from 1688. I am writing here the date here. Okay, it started from 1688 and it will go up to 1801. So for more than 100 years the unification was going on only. So it was very lengthy process, है ना. And the second, why it was known as strange, here you can see so many war took place, people have been killed, fine. But here now no such war took place. It was a kind of peaceful, unification. So that two things you keep in mind. The first one was the time was very high, as well as the second one was it was comparatively peaceful, unification. So I hope this is clear to all of you. That is unification of Britain. So let's start unification of Britain. So basically unification of Britain, we will start from the 1688. You can see one image is visible to all of you. So in this image you can see very easily 4 particular places are visible. One is England, second one is Scotland, third one is Ireland, and the fourth one is Wales. Okay, so let's start one by one. Fine. So here now in this particular, if you will completely talk about these entire 4 regions, then it is known as British Isles. So British Isles is a kind of island where all these 4 ethnic communities are living. England people are speaking in English, Ireland people are speaking in Irish language, and Scotland people are speaking Scottish language. Gaelic is the language basically, and these Welsh people are known as Welsh people, है ना. So these are the different variety of their in this this particular island. Later in 1688 now, European people by the passage, this English people basically England, over the period of time they became very rich and powerful, है ना. You all know that so many places were under the control of England only. So by the passage of time, England became very powerful and very rich also, and they were dominating the parliament also, that is British Parliament. And they have because of their influence only, British Parliament has requested to the royal family that royal family should hand over their political power in the hand of British Parliament, है ना. And this successfully took place in 1688. So remember 1688, okay, the royal family has handed over their political power in the hand of English Parliament. Okay, once again I am repeating, the royal family has handed over their political power in the hand of Parliament. And now the royal family will be only for the namesake. Like in India we have president is only for the namesake, real power is in the hand of Parliament. So similarly the king and queen will be only for the namesake, ceremonial purpose, and the real power will be in the hand of Parliament. So this took place in which year? 1688. Fine. After that, the next very important year is 1707, है ना. 1707. Basically in this 1707, Act of Union took place. What took place? Act of Union. What is Act of Union? In this Act of Union now, England and Scotland both united together and formed Great Britain. What I said? England and Scotland united together and they both formed what? Great Britain. But here now the English people have dominated their culture, tradition, custom, belief and language over the Scottish people, and Scottish people culture and tradition were not that much promoted. Scottish people language were there, that was Gaelic, so Gaelic was completely neglected, and they were forced to speak in English language only, है ना. So that type of things were there, which was painful basically, है ना. So 1707, remember, Act of Union, 2 particular countries united together, that is England plus Scotland, and they have formed Great Britain. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now the next very important year is 1801. Okay, 1801. So basically 1801, what took place? 1801, Ireland was there. Fine. So you just imagine about the Ireland. So Ireland was divided into 2 parts, that is North Ireland and South Ireland, है ना. So North Ireland basically Protestants were there, and South Ireland they were having the Catholics group as majority. And these British people, they were basically liking the Protestants and they were not liking that much the Catholics, है ना, because they are themselves having majority, that is Protestants only. Fine. So with the force they have incorporated the North Ireland into themselves, and the South Ireland, which were the Catholic dominated region, they became the independent country. Okay, so once again I'm repeating, Ireland, which was divided into two parts, North Ireland and South Ireland. North Ireland Protestants were there and South Ireland Catholics were there, है ना. Protestants and Catholics both are the part of Christian religion. Okay, like we have na in Jainism, Shwetambar and Digambar. So similarly in Christianity we have Protestant and Catholics. So North was Protestant and South was Catholics. So these Britishers have captured the North Ireland because they were liking Protestants and they were not liking Catholics that much. That is why the South Ireland became the independent nation, and today it is known as Republic of Ireland, है ना? And the North Ireland is known as British Ireland. Fine. So today you see the match is happening between India and Ireland. That is cricket match between India and Ireland, so that Ireland is a Republic of Ireland, not the independent nation. Okay, I hope this is clear. So in 1801, the combination of England plus Scotland plus North Ireland is together called as United Kingdom. What it is called as? United Kingdom. Okay, so here you must remember in 1801 UK, that is United Kingdom, formed, and it is the combination of England plus Scotland plus Ireland, North Ireland basically, plus Wales also. Wales was from beginning, it was the part of England only. Fine. So I hope this is clear to everyone. When this United Kingdom has been formed, United Kingdom, why? Because they all part are united and king will represent. Okay, the king will be the ceremonial head, the nominal head will be the king only. That is why it is known as United Kingdom. Okay. After that they have also made English as their official language, national language, as well as they have also framed one new national flag which will be called as Union Jack. So what is the language of United Kingdom? English. What is the flag of United Kingdom? Union Jack. So I hope the clear picture is clear to everyone. You can see in the image once the combination of England plus Scotland is known as Great Britain. The particular combination of England plus Scotland plus North Ireland is known as United Kingdom. And if we'll completely include all the regions, it will be known as British Isles. I hope this is clear to everyone. After that, I hope this unification of Britain, unification of Germany, unification of Italy is clear. And this all three topics are very, very, very important topic, and one question will definitely come in board examination, and maximum time 5 marks question come from this topic. So this is very, very important topic also. Now let's discuss about the next very important part, that is 1871.